Hey folks, this is Kalani. We have a lot of news to go over this week. Some classes on the PTR have seen huge buffs, including some more adjustments for Death Knights. Monks will basically be required for every raid group now, and Rogues and Warlocks have some big buffs to look forward to as well. We also have a release date for patch 11.2, so we know exactly when all of that new content will be coming our way. But before that, we have even more special events starting up, and we have some huge updates about the housing system and how neighbourhoods are going to work, and patch 11.2.5 might start its testing cycle very soon as well. There's a lot to talk about, so let's break it all down in this week's WoW news video. Now before we jump in, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss another video. First up this week, we now have an official release date for patch 11.2. Patch 11.2 will go live on August 5th, which is great to know considering how close that is to Gamescom and the Midnight expansion reveal. It's not surprising at all to me that the patch will be going live on the 5th. I know a lot of folks were thinking it might go live on the 12th, but that would push the raid release to the 19th, and I just don't think there's any way the dev team would have overlapped the raid release week and Gamescom week, so August 5th it is. We also have some important dates for when certain types of content will become available for play, and we'll actually have access to quite a bit of Season 3 content as soon as the patch goes live. We'll get the new zone, the first few story chapters, and systems relating to the zone like the ecological succession, the new artifact cloak, and the phase diving feature. But then we're also going to have Season 3 normal, heroic, and Mythic 0 dungeons unlocked right away, which will let you farm up to Season 3 champion gear, which is going to start at item level 681. So you can start gearing up right away before the raid or Mythic Plus system even open. Then we're also going to have access to every delve tier for Season 3, allowing you to progress through the delves and earn some new rewards there. Bountiful delves will be locked until the next week though, and then we'll also start earning credit for the Season 3 Great Vault in that first week as well. Then on August 12th, the rest of the story chapters will be available, including an epilogue for the War Within, so that's going to be very interesting. The raid will open up at that point, and we'll have the first wing of LFR, as well as normal, heroic, and mythic difficulties all at once. We'll also see the new world boss in the 11.2 zone, Mythic Plus becomes available, the Tazavesh Mega Dungeon on hard mode will be active, Season 3 PvP kicks off, we'll be able to get Bountiful Delve keys and open up those boxes, and that's also when we'll get the new curios and levels for Bran. So it's a jam-packed season start for sure. Then the Raid Finder Wing 2 and Story Mode opens up on the 19th, with the last Raid Finder Wing opening up on the 26th. Gamescom also kicks off on the 19th, and by the sounds of things, Blizzard has some rather special reveals lined up this year. So not only do we have a whole bunch of content to sink our teeth into, but we're going to have a very good idea of what to expect in the next expansion and the patches leading up to it. So August is going to be a very exciting month indeed. Moving on, we also have a whole bunch of class buffs and nerfs to go over this week. Death Knights are still getting big changes every week, so let's go over those first. There are some updates to the new set bonuses coming in Season 3, including quite a few buffs for the Rider of the Apocalypse bonuses for both specializations. For Unholy, Whitemane's death coil damage was increased by 100%, but there was a bug fix to address Whitemane benefiting from mastery too much. For Sanlane, the 4 set bonus now also increases the ability damage of ghouls and dancing rune weapons. The corrupted blood ability of Blood Beast's damage was increased by 25%, Pact of the Sanlane was buffed up to 15%, and Frenzied Bloodthirst was buffed up as well. For Frost specifically, they're getting another 10% buff across the board, Obliterate damage is up 30%, Empower rune weapon damage will now scale with mastery, Consuming Killing Machine increases the damage of Frost Scythe by 4 times, up from 3 times, and there are a couple of bug fixes as well. For Unholy, your mastery will now also increase the critical strike damage of minions and diseases at a reduced scaling amount, but anything that can increase your crit damage can be very powerful, so it'll be interesting to see how this change plays out. Menacing Magus now causes Magus of the Dead's Shadow Bolt to hit up to 8 nearby enemies, Epidemic damage was increased by 30%, Festering Wound burst damage is up 25%, Commander of the Dead and Unholy Aura now increase the damage of Legion of Souls, Harbinger of Doom was buffed up to 40% for Death Coil and 20% for Epidemic, and they have a few bug fixes thrown in for good measure as well. Now, a lot of classes are going to have some buffs and nerfs to their new set bonuses coming in Season 3, so both 2 set bonuses for Demon Hunters were nerfed slightly this week. For Druids, the Elun's Chosen 2-set bonus was nerfed to no longer trigger Lunation's cooldown reduction effect. Apparently this was unintended and made the set more powerful than it was supposed to be, but with this fix in place it does leave the set bonus a bit weaker than before. And then for Wildstalker, the Feral 2-set bonus was buffed up to a 40% damage boost, up from 30%. Evokers have quite a few changes as well. The Chrono Warden 4-set bonus has been buffed up to 15% and 450%, which are pretty sizable buffs, and then Temporal Burst with a 4-set bonus increases the number of Chrono Flames targets by 2, up from 1. Flame Shaper's 2-set bonus was nerfed down to 25% per stack from 40% per stack, so you won't get quite as much damage out of that set bonus, and then Essence Bomb now triggers twice if the Evoker has 2 stacks of Inner Flame. There were also some bug fixes for all 3 hero talent set bonuses. Hunters have a very quick update this week. Haiti and Fenrir's base damage was increased to 2 times a normal Dire Beast's damage, and there was a bug fix that addressed a problem with their attacks having a higher variance than usual. Now, monks have a very interesting update this week. Their Mystic Touch debuff was increased from a 5% bonus to all physical damage to an 8% bonus. That's just a 3% damage boost for every physical damage dealer you have in any group with a monk, which guarantees monk a spot in pretty much any progression raid environment. It might also open up the Mythic Plus dungeon meta and create more space for physical based groups. A lot of the top keys are dominated by casters right now, with Demon Hunter tanks to provide that magic damage debuff, but with monks bringing a bit more oomph to the table, we could see things change a bit, and I'm very interested to see how this buff will affect Season 3. Paladins have a couple of changes too. The Lightsmith 2-set bonus was nerfed so the various spells are cast at 75% effectiveness, down from 100%, and then the 4-set was updated to cast a lesser armament on a nearby ally if a stack of masterwork is gained while at maximum stacks. For Holy, those lesser weapons should also prioritize healers when possible, so that's an interesting little change. Rogues actually have a few updates this week as well. The 2-set bonus for Deathstalker Subtlety was buffed up to 50% from 30%, the Trickster 2-set bonus saw a small buff up to 35%, and the 4-set buffed up the effectiveness of Second Coup de Grace to 150%. Assassination is going to get an 8% damage boost across the board, so that's something to look forward to, and then Outlaw has a few changes to Killing Spree and how it calculates the offhand weapon damage, which apparently will result in a damage increase of about 43% to Killing Spree, so that's a pretty big buff to Outlaw's updated Killing Spree. For the Shamans, the Elemental Stormbringer 2-set now grants Ascendance at 9 stacks instead of 6 stacks, so you won't get those free procs quite as often, and then for the Enhancement 2-set, the Ascendance proc will only last for 6 seconds down from 8, so nerfs for both Stormbringer 2-sets moving forward. Up next, Warlocks have some massive buffs coming through. For Affliction, Unstable Affliction damage is increased by 25%, Shadowbolt damage is up 25%, and Drained Soul is buffed up by 25% too. Haunt damage has been increased by 50%, and Haunt's damage bonus was increased up to 12% from 10%. For Demonology, Demonic Tyrant's Demon Fire damage has been increased by 60%, Demon Bolt will see a 35% buff, Shadowbolt damage is up 55%, Wild Imp's Fell Firebolt damage has been increased by 15%, and Implosion will see a 15% buff as well. Destruction hasn't been left out, Incinerate will see a 50% damage boost, Conflagrate damage is getting a 30% buff, and then Chaos Bolt damage is also up 10%. So big buffs across all 3 Warlock specs this week. And then last but not least, we come to the Warriors. The Colossus 4-set bonus only increases the damage of 1 spell instead of 2. The Mountain Thane 2-set's Ionizing Strike damage has increased by 725%, which is a really silly number. Whenever anything is increased by that much, you know something went wrong with the numbers tuning somewhere. The 4-set bonus also increases the damage of Ionizing Strike by 100%, up from 50%, and then the Slayer 2-set bonus was knocked down to a 10% damage boost to Execute from 20%. And then there's a quick change for Protection. Spellbreaker now has an 8% chance to affect a magic damage event, but reduces damage taken by 50%. That's all for the class balance tuning and updates this week. With a release date set for patch 11.2, we might actually see class changes calm down a bit until the patch launches, and then we always see tuning changes in the first couple of weeks of a major patch. So if you feel like your class or spec hasn't been given much attention so far on the PTR, you may have to wait for the patch to actually go live to see some larger numbers adjustments. Now this content train doesn't seem to be stopping anytime soon. Patch 11.2.5 has already been detected on Blizzard's internal servers, so we'll probably see that come up on the PTR for testing shortly after patch 11.2 goes live. And while we will probably get a lot more information about this patch at Gamescom, if we check the roadmap from earlier this year, we can see that we should expect some new content and system updates, as well as the 21st anniversary event. If they add onto the 20th anniversary event with even more activities and rewards, that's going to be another large event to look forward to. From the rough position of the patch on the timeline, and with it being right after the expansion reveal at Gamescom, we can probably expect this patch to go live sometime in October-ish, probably about 8 weeks after patch 11.2 goes live. So it's full speed ahead for the WoW content schedule right now. Now, in other news, we got a huge update for the housing system this week, which goes over a lot of specific details about how the neighbourhoods are going to work. One of the first points mentioned is that we should have quite a lot of land to work with, and a variety of housing plots and how close houses are to each other. So there'll be some cul-de-sac style setups with a few houses close together for close friends or guildies, but then we will also have plenty of options that are further away from any neighbours for all of the hermits out there. So if you don't really want close neighbours, that is going to be an option for you. We'll also have quite a variety of locations to pick and choose from, even though we only have one general area for each faction. You'll also be able to set permissions for who can enter your plot, including separate permissions for who can check out your garden versus who can actually go inside the house. These permissions can be changed at any time too, so you can swap things around on the fly if you need to. It's also going to be really easy to move your house, and your current house and its state are saved, so when you do pick another plot or neighborhood to settle down in, you can just plop down your house exactly as it was, so you don't have to worry about replacing each individual little piece of decor that you spent months perfecting. Each neighborhood is going to have 50 plots, all of which can contain a house, so you can have up to 50 players in the same neighborhood, all working together to make it the best space it possibly can be. Public neighborhoods are going to be handled by the server, and more are created as needed, and anyone can buy a house in a public neighborhood. So if you just want to set things up and have some random neighbors to meet and greet, you shouldn't ever run into an issue of no housing plots being available to buy. Now, private neighborhoods can be owned by guilds or by other groups of players as a charter neighborhood. There do seem to be some restrictions here. There will be a minimum number of players required to set up and maintain a private neighborhood, so you won't be able to have a private neighborhood all to yourself. Both guild and charter neighborhoods will also have more control over who can live there, so if someone gets kicked out of the guild, they'll also get kicked out of the neighborhood, and charter neighborhoods might have even more control through a special UI menu, so it's going to be interesting to see how those work fully. Each neighborhood will also have a central area that changes depending on something called endeavors. These seem to be neighborhood-wide events that change how your neighborhood looks. The example we were given was a Val'sharah endeavor changing that central area to have a massive red tree. So that's really cool, and this means our neighborhoods are going to change as the months roll by depending on what kind of endeavors are currently going on. Endeavors involve different tasks and group quests, and the more tasks that you complete, the more NPCs from the endeavor's culture or area show up in the neighborhood, and we'll be able to earn currency and unlock new decor options and other collectibles, and we'll also be earning something called neighborhood favor. Now this seems to be kind of like a renown window but tied to the housing system, and we can see a general progress track with new decor options as rewards, and one of the rewards is also an increase to your decor limit. So these endeavors are going to be super important if you want to deck out your house with as many decor items as you can. For public neighbourhoods, the endeavours are handled by the server, so you don't get any real control over that system by the looks of things. Different neighbourhoods might also have different endeavours active, so it'll be interesting to visit different neighbourhoods to see what's happening in each one. Now, private neighbourhoods will be able to pick and choose which endeavours they want to pursue, so you can target specific rewards and progression options if you are part of a private neighbourhood. It looks like the housing system is shaping up quite nicely, and most of this new information is very exciting. We don't have too much longer to wait to see the system as a whole and how it all works together, as I'm sure we are going to get a huge information dump about this system at Gamescom. Now, even though we seem to be moving into patch 11.2 and beyond, there's actually more coming before the next patch. On July 15th, the Winds of Mysterious Fortune event will start up again. This event gives you a 20% bonus experience buff, a 200% bonus rep gains buff for Dragonflight factions, and a 100% bonus rep for the War Within factions, so if you have any reputations that you want to finish up, this would be a great time to work on that. During this event, you can also loot mysterious satchels, which can contain gear upgrades to make leveling a bit smoother, various potion effects that can give your character a quick power boost, as well as bonus experience potions. These bonus XP potions don't expire and are warbound, so you can send them to your alts that you want to level up, or you can save them for a future leveling event if you don't have time to do it right now. This event also overlaps with a Turbulent Timeways event, so you can stack up all of those bonus experience buffs to level insanely quickly, and the Turbulence Timeway event guarantees that we'll have access to time walking dungeons, which is still pretty great for leveling. So if you have any alts that you still haven't gotten around to leveling, or maybe you just want to add a few more to your all army, leveling in this event will be stupidly quick. That is, of course, if you can find some spare time between farming old mounts and transmog, killing treasure goblins, or trying to finish up any other end of season goals that you may have. We are definitely chock-a-block when it comes to things to do at the end of season 2. And then to round out this video, I want to highlight a very useful add-on for anyone wanting to take advantage of the Collector's Bounty event. The Collector's Bounty Helper add-on has a handy list of mounts and their updated drop rates. You can organize the list by mount or by raid and difficulty, whichever you prefer or makes sense to you, and you can organize them by expansion or by drop rate percentage. So if you'd rather knock out every dungeon or raid in an expansion before moving on to the next one, you can do that, or you can just hunt for the highest drop rate mounts first. Again, whatever works best for you. This add-on will also keep track of which bosses you've killed on each character, so you can quickly see which mounts you can still hunt down on your rolls. In the filters, you can hide any mounts that you already own to tidy things up, and you can hide the ones that drop from bosses that you've already killed this week. If you click on a mount, it will open up your world map with the appropriate location of the boss you need to kill, and it will even pin the location for you so you can easily track it using the in-game hub. It's just a nice, neat, clean option that can help you keep track of your mount farming adventures over the next few weeks. But that's all the updates we have so far, so that's it for this week's WoW News video. How do you feel about even more events starting up before patch 11.2 goes live? And what are you most looking forward to in the new patch? Leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon and to all of our members here on YouTube. You can see their names floating by on screen. If you're interested in supporting the channel, you can find links in the description or click the join button just below the video. If you enjoyed the video or found it useful in any way, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you're always kept up to date. Thanks for watching, folks. Good luck and have fun, and as always, I will see you next time.